They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without which please watch the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
I couldn't find myself. couldn't find a little click, you know, your little arrow, and you pull up. Then I'm on. Never found it. Couldn't find it. And I got my hair cut on Saturday. And when he was cutting all my hair, he just said, you know, what do you want? I said, I'll just cut it. So when he cut it, I said, what are they? What are they growing out of my head? He said, they're ears. I said, what are ears? What are they? He said, you can actually hear people talk. I said, oh, I didn't know that. So I've got these things at the side of my head. Found at last. Anyway, good evening all. Hope you're going to enjoy it tonight. I've got my old friends with me. Anthony, Mona today. We had a chat today. Just a little chat, you know, usual things about going in the garden and sunbathing, and, you know, the usual things. And Mona. So I'll let him talk to you all about that. But first and foremost, I've got to thank these wonderful people. And they are the sponsors of the Frank Carlyle podcasts. Every one of them. Every single one of them. And it's Gap Painting Services. Look, with Christmas coming up, it's not far off. You get thinking of decorating. No matter who you are, get these in. Let them do it. Don't you struggle. Please don't struggle, because people do struggle, you know, coming home from work and having to do all the decorating. Please don't do it. Don't struggle. If you're an NHS worker, all the better, because you get a special discount off these people. Gap Painting Service, special discount. And then if you're an elderly couple or an elderly person, get them in, because you get a special discount too. And even if you don't fit into those categories, just get them in for a price, without any obligation whatsoever. And they'll give you the price. If you're satisfied with it, bang, because they are very reasonable. And they leave your house the way you want it, pristine. How you want it. First class, fully time served, and most importantly as well, they're fully insured, just in case anything does go wrong. That's Gap Painting Services. Wonderful people who sponsor the Frank Carlyle podcasts. And there I am again. Yes, it's me. Isn't it strange how, you know, we dress in dreary clothes simply because of the winter. And it is getting colder. It really is. It really is getting colder all the time. I know I know I am. I tell you what, I was saying to Anthony today, I'm sleeping all the time. And I never realised until I finished talking to Anthony. And because it has been worrying me, sleeping constantly. Because I couldn't sleep. Honest to God, I couldn't sleep. And it was worrying me that I couldn't sleep. So anyway, I changed my bed. And I got an orthopedic bed. And that's the answer. No, you just go in, you're gone. You're gone. Because it's that comfortable. The orthopedic bed. So that's me. I'll just see what you lovely people are saying. Geriatric. Oh, are we, Frank? All right, thanks, Jerry. Found these things here. Didn't know what they were. Found them when I got my hair cut. Frightened me. What a day! Steve Mulholland, my old mate. Good evening, everyone. Oh, that's nice. Lynn Ellis, lovely Lynn. Good evening, Frank and Anthony and all the chat. Hope you're all well. That's lovely. Yes, Lynn. We're in fine fettle. The lovely ambidextrous Helen. Good evening, Stephen Mulholland, Frank, and the lovely people in the chat. Isn't that lovely? Thank you, Helen. Thank you. Yes, agree. Getting cold, says Lynn. It's gone mad. Hi, Frank and everyone. Like and subscribe. Yes, like and subscribe, as Christopher says, which is nice. It gets the algorithm up there, you see. It gets the algorithm. And Ambi says, hello, Christopher. That's nice, that letting on to everyone. Tonight, what I'm going to talk about in the first 20 minutes, that's all. Then we're going to talk, well, it is a history, by the way. It is a history. But I want to talk about some Liverpool philanthropists. Modern day, and because I have to mention 3 people today. A modern day. And then we go back to others, which is absolutely amazing. So we'll do a little 20-minute thing on each history show about philanthropists. 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. That's all. And then we're on to everything then. History. Well, that is historical, these philanthropists, what they've done and what they are doing, by the way. And George said, hello, Frank, and preemptive hello to this fella here.
That was quick. I think I'm shoving a bag of chips in my gob.
As George says there, he said, hello, Frank, and a preemptive hello to Anthony.
George, hello to you. Welcome on board.
Isn't it good, though? It's just good, Anthony, to look at things, and it's hard to, how can I put it? As I mentioned there before about these wonderful people, philanthropists who do good in their lives. You've got good people today, doing good things. around the world. I'm not just saying here, by the way. But I just want to specifically talk about Scousers.
Yeah.
And like today in modern times, there are three people. I want you to talk about one when we come to them.
Yeah.
When we come to them. And these two people, who I know personally, are wonderful. They really are. There's a girl named Annie McCann. She just calls herself Annie Mac. Her and her husband Al's. And what they do, they go to India, because no matter how you look at India, there's terrible poverty there.
Yeah.
There's terrible poverty. Yet they reckon that there are more billionaires living in India than anywhere else in the world. I don't know whether you're aware of that. But nevertheless, what Annie and Al's does, her husband, they go over to India and they help the poor. They clean up, they help them, they buy them food, they do everything for them. And this is what this girl is like, an out and out Scouser.
Yeah.
She's an out and out Scouser. And she's a lovely, lovely girl as well. And her husband, I've never met her husband, because she normally comes up, she sees me, and I've taken them out here and her mates, a couple of times, showing her, that's where I could walk, showing the history of Liverpool.
Yeah.
And she came up a few months ago, I was chatting to her and her mates, just sitting there. It was just nice and pleasant. And this is what this girl does. She just goes to India and she helps out there. You see what I mean? She went on holiday once, fell in love with India, fell in love with the people, but she's seen the poverty. And she said, I've got to help these. I've got to help these. And that's Annie McCann, a modern day Scouse philanthropist.
That
beautiful lady.
Unbelievable, because we've not experienced what Annie and her husband Steve have gone through. And sometimes we can't grasp that, because the ultimate question is, why did you do that? Because we can. With Annie and her husband, I've been blessed to have conversation with Annie on here with you.
Yeah.
And I truly look forward to meeting them when we can arrange.
Next. As soon as she's coming, as soon as I know she's coming, you'll be getting a message saying that she's coming on such a day, and just make your way here.
Lainey and I pick up the kids and we'll be there.
Yeah, I know you will.
Absolutely. I think it's most unrecognised because we're not used to it. And I think the term philanthropist, we always assume that it's a multi-millionaire who's sparing a fiver or a tenner. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. It's real people who are moved by what they see and say, I can do something to help that. And you absolutely, every one of us, you've got to take a hat off to that.
Well, there's another one, modern day, and it's, believe it or not, it's our Gerard's lad, James. And you think that, in today, he looks at people. He just looks at them. And what he's got, he just hires a van. Out of his own pocket, he hires a van. And then he gets this stuff. And what I mean by stuff, I've given him stuff, I've given him like things, James, can you get rid of this?
Yeah.
And I'm talking about tables and chairs, you know, what I've got. You've seen my own. And I've got rid of tables and chairs and wardrobes and different things, different items. And he says, yeah, no problem. And he just puts it up. Does anybody need this? And it's surprising how many people want this stuff.
Yeah.
How many? Because they've got nothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, they're just moving into a place for the first time or whatever. Or they've even been living in a place and they've got nothing, they can't afford anything. And he gets everything. I've just given you an example of what I've given him. But there's 3-piece suites, there's fridges, there's fridge freezers, there's loads of things even carpets. There's loads of things that he goes and he delivers to does anyone want this? And, a little list comes up. And I just said to him once, I said, how do you pick out of all these, He said, I just see the first one. And if they were, I'll have it, please. And I just bring it to them. And this is what kind of a fella he is. He's a wonderful, lovely fella. And as I said, out of his own pocket, he does charge for petrol, like a tenner or whatever. That's what he does. Because he has to he's got a van load of stuff and he's travelling all over the place. From Kirby, even over the water he's been. So, he has to, look at that. And the producer, Jason, and he says, look, James is a legend because Jason knows him. You see what I mean? And for Jason to say he's a legend, James is a legend. He's right. And it's as I said, he's absolutely brilliant, giving things out, and he just sees that he gets an enormous amount of stuff. I mean, an enormous amount. As I said, from 3-piece suites, corner units and everything, tables and chairs, fridge freezers, tellies, even tellies. He gets, does anyone need this? And I'm talking all modern flat screen ones, not the big bulky things. Yeah. You see what I mean? And that's what kind of a lad our Gerard's lad is, James.
Beautiful. Absolutely
Beautiful lad. Love the bones of him. I love the bones of him. And he said to me, he said, do you need anything? And I said, yeah. I said, yeah. I said, I've seen a treadmill. And he went, got one in here. I've got one here. He said, you can have it. And I went, can I? He said, yeah, but that was months ago. He still hasn't brought it down. He must have forgotten. I don't like to remind him.
Oh.
I just don't like to remind him. But that'll be handy,
You might see this. What a wonderful soul and heart.
That's what I mean. And, Annie Mac, she's got nothing. James has got nothing. But you're going to tell about a fella who's got everything, yet he's one of the greatest philanthropists for Liverpool. And who is he?
Yeah. Yes, and it's easy for us to say because we're not in his acquaintanceship. We haven't had more than 72 beers with him. Or even none. But he is a remarkable guy who's proud of where he comes from, which is Ireland, Liverpool. And he is so proud of that. He achieved heights in his career that we couldn't dream of. You can't even dream of that. And he's never forgotten where he comes from. And wherever there's an opportunity to furnish some goodness on the city of his birth, he will do it. He will write about it, He will sing about it because he's a musician, and more so. But hand on heart, he will do it. Someone says to him, this needs doing, that needs doing. Have you seen this? Have you seen that? He's on it. And his name, of course, is Sir Paul McCartney. And he's a true Scouse. And they've all been through their times. In the 70s, it was easy to take a pot shot at them because there was no band anymore. So people, including our own here, would say, he doesn't do nothing for this city, doesn't do nothing, doesn't come home, doesn't do that. But we know the opposite. We know the opposite of this particular gentleman. And his heart has got no limit when it comes to his hometown. Absolutely none. And there's so many charities and places that he supports that were not really
allowed to say, really. We're not allowed to say.
Because it blows his cover and also puts the particular places and things in jeopardy as well. But everyone knows him for Lipper, for his beautiful wife Linda McCartney and the cancer centre that she set up here.
And they're just a couple of things that we know about. Yeah, there's other things that, I think people, if they think more so, I think they'll think, he must give to this and he must give to that and he must give to that as well. And he does. And he's such a philanthropist, put it this way, that he just wants to remain anonymous with other charities, the charities that we already know of, as you said, about the likes of Lipper and the likes of, because I've been up there myself, as a patient to the Linda McCartney thing, that he funds every single year. He funds, and he funds other charities as well.
Some things are so small that they're inconsequential to most people, but he never forgets.
No.
And you and I have said it many times, and many of our own and many of our beautiful chat family have said, never forget where you come from. We don't. He doesn't. And there's some very small things that he's made it his business to keep afloat, to keeping survival, and whereas they would just get lost in the grand scheme of life, where everything is about profit margins and.
That's it's about profit margins. I've got a whopper to say, but this is next. This is for next Friday, and it's incredible. But anyway, I'll just say what our lovely chatters are saying, eh? Toscana, buonasera, Franco, Anthony, and chatters. Hope you're all well. Yes.
We are Toscana, and I hope all our chatters are too. Christopher.
And Christopher. Hi, Anthony.
Hi, Christopher. Good evening to you.
And Gary Rigby, he just says, evening, as he normally says, evening. Evening, Gary.
Hello.
And Gary says, I've been to India 3 times, love it, but it's not for the faint-hearted, some of the sights you see. That's it, the nail on the head of what Annie Mac does.
Wow.
You see, that's it. I'm made up, he said that. I'm absolutely delighted that he said.
I'm so looking forward to meeting Annie and
Yes.
Steve.
And you know what? She's a proper scouser. And her husband, I met her. It's the last time she came to me a couple of months ago. He was up and she said, I loved it. And he's a southerner. They live down in Sussex somewhere. And the chalk and cheese, because he just sits there, But he's a kind-hearted gentleman. He's got a heart, if you know what I mean. And that's what
Wonderful.
we like people to have hearts. And George Sett says a 2024 study by GoFundMe showed Liverpool was the most charitable place in the UK. I am not surprised at all, as I believe the Scousers are the greatest humanitarians I know. Try and
Wow.
comment on that. What
Wow.
George
We love you for what you are, but that is a truly wonderful statement on behalf of all Scousers. I did a thing a couple of years ago. I had some work in London, and we forget what we do as a day to day. And there was a couple of pubs who were close to where we were working, so we would pop in. And what do we do when you go to the bar? And the girl says that'll be £3.80. Most Scousers would say, there you go, love, and your own. No, one for you. And the lady pulled me later, just before we left the pub, and she said, you're from Liverpool? And I said, yeah. She said, there's only Liverpudlians that do that. One for yourself.
That's beautiful. And do you
At the
ever
time,
remember Texas Sanderson? I'm sorry, go on. I'm
no,
sorry, I thought you finished.
all I'm saying is that's a tiny, tiny thing that we grew up with, because we watched our family do that, and we do that, and big uncles and big brothers and everything. And you go, thank you very much, and take one for yourself.
That's great. Do you know? Do you ever remember the Olympic javelin thrower called Tessa Sanderson?
Yeah, do.
Well, Tessa, she was one of the judges for the Capital of Culture European 2008 Capital of Culture, and she gets to Liverpool, gets off at Lime Street Station, and she hadn't a clue. She had to get to this hotel, and she was just standing there. And a couple were seeing her, because if you see someone and they're looking around and they're looking at something, and you're going to say you're all right, you know where you're going. And they stopped and said, you're okay? And she said, oh, yeah. She said, I'm trying to find this hotel. I don't know what it was. And they started to point, and they brought her down a little, to show her like where to go, if you know what I mean. I think they were pointing more or less towards Dale Street. So they walked over I'm not saying walked over to St. George's Hall, but on the side of Lime Street Station, they walked up and they were pointing down. And a taxi driver pulls up and we're like, you're all right there. And they said, she's looking for a hotel, they said the hotel. And he went, I'm going that way. I'm picking a fare up. Yeah, jump in, love. So she put it, she grabbed a case and threw it in, and drove to that. She thanked the couple who stopped, and tried to help her. And anyway, he brought her down, and he said, "Yeah, this is where you want, love." And she said, how much? He said, no. He said, I'm going to pick a fare up, so it's a free ride for you, no problem. You take care of yourself. And little did he know that she was coming up to be a judge for, to see if Liverpool was good enough to have the capital of culture, the European capital of culture.
That is beautiful. It's the real deal. It's the real deal. You can't camouflage that. It is what it is. And
absolutely,
I love it. That's fantastic.
And it's a thing that could have been one of the even I forget his name. I forget his bloody name. A well-known person as well. And he went into a pub. He was going around different pubs in these different areas. Even in I think Oxford was another place that was nominated. Even Newcastle was nominated anyway. And he was asking for a certain beer. Don't forget, this is European capital. And there was two fellas at the bar. I think it was in the Crown. You know the Crown. He gets off at Lime Street. I'll go in here. So we went in there, and it was empty because it was early. It was around 11:30 or something like that. And he goes in, and he asked for a certain beer, a bottle of beer.
Yeah.
And there was two fellas at the bar, and they turned and looked at him and went, "You see?" Anyway, the barman went, "Yeah, hang on a sec." And he lifted the thing that leads into the cellar. So he goes down, and he comes back with a crate of it. And he said, "Yeah," and he started. So we got this bottle of beer out, and as he got it out, the two fellas at the bar went, "Hey, mate, we'll get that, for him, right." And he was, what's his name? I forget his name. This fella's name. Who came up like Chester Sanderson, and he couldn't believe that this. He said it was the only pub who had this beer, a European beer, and two men at the bar said, "Hey, I will get that. You're all right, mate."
Yeah.
This is how we got the nod. And I always remember that Carol Malone, she used to write for the Daily Mirror, and she said, "Liverpool getting the European capital of culture, while we in Newcastle have got more in a quarter of a mile of culture in our city than Liverpool will ever have." That's what she said. Horrible person.
What a cow. And obviously never been to Liverpool. So which direction do you want to go?
Yeah.
North, south, east, west, culture, every single direction.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, I was just trying to get them in, and, about Texas. I forget his name, He was a knight as well. He was a Sir something, this fella. Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe what he said. I only stepped off the train and went in for a beer that no other city had, and yet Liverpool had it. And two gentlemen at the bar said, "Hey, I will get that, mate." That's exactly what he said. "Yeah, I will get that, mate."
That's just. Likes all the buttons, doesn't he?
Yes. I'll see what these are saying now, Anthony. How do Frank and Anthony says the red bird?
I read bed.
And Stacey says, "Hi Frank, do you remember Pete Besley used to do talks in the Walker? I was talking to him yesterday on the Palestinian demo." Go away. We were only talking about Pete Best, weren't we?
Where? Is it the same chap? Yeah.
Will be, yeah. Will be. There's only one Pete Best. And as Jason says, James is a legend.
Fantastic.
George Seth says, "Anthony, I noticed Mr. Eric Blair behind you."
George. Very well spotted and very, very, very thought of. I fell off the chair first time I found out his real name. But yeah, yes, Mr. George Orwell, say it. Real name, Eric Blair. Not a greatest name for a visionary, but he certainly was a visionary. Yeah.
Told you they're
Well,
very observant, our crowds, aren't they?
yeah.
And Toscana said, I knew it was going to be Sir Paul. Absolutely loved that man. It's what the word legend was invented for. My son looks after him on a flight to New York, and he said he was such a regular, decent fella. Yeah, how about that? How
Fantastic.
about that?
Highest
A
praise.
regular.
That was great.
Oh, it's lovely. It's lovely. Ah, Daniela. Now, Daniela is our lovely Italian,
Lessons. Yeah,
all the way from
I
Italy, who lives in Barcelona, Spain.
remember well. Yeah.
Haven't seen her for ages. Good evening, Frank and Anthony. Hope you're both very well. We missed you. Good evening, everyone. Oh, missed you too, Danielle. I haven't heard nothing. Unfortunately, I thought you ran away. Thought you ran away to Liverpool to look me up, which would have been nice. And
Everyone did.
Gary says, years ago, a friend of mine from London said Liverpool reminded him of the East End. Strangely enough, Gary, honestly, there was a fella. What he was? I'll tell you who it was. Gary Oldman. Not
Yeah.
Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Oh, Tim Roth. Tim Roth. Tim Roth. He came to Liverpool. He was doing a series called Tin Star. Now, hear me out on this. He was
Yeah.
doing a series called Tin Star, right?
Yeah.
And it was based in America, obviously, and he had to get out of America because gangsters were following him, and he had to take him and his family. I mean, in the series, I don't mean in real life, So he had to get out. And he was saying, well, all right, well, we go to London or, around there. And he said, no. He said, we'll go to the finest place in the UK. And that was Liverpool. And he said, Liverpool? He said, yeah, I want to film there in Liverpool. The fine people. Well-mannered. Even the police are good. If you want to hold up traffic or whatever, or to film, they'll do it, no problem. And it's a fantastic architecture, he said, as well. He said, so we'll go there. He said, the lovely, lovely people. And it's the finest city in the United Kingdom. That's what Tim Roth said. Isn't that fantastic? But he said but he said it reminds him of the East End of London. That's like answering the question of what Gary said.
Yeah. I get it. A lot of that's like worker city. We're not Oxford. We're not Cambridge, darling. Don't you know? We're working a working, thriving city. And I love that series, by the way. Absolutely loved it. Tin Star.
Well, that's why he said that's why he picked Liverpool. Nothing else, because they all expected, these Americans, London, London. Now there's more places now in London. Anyway, Toscana says, I read that Paul has recently bought a house on the outskirts of Liverpool for homeless kids. Like my mum used to say, if you say you don't like Liverpool, you've never been. Isn't that lovely coming from Toscana?
That is lovely, Toscana, and that is beautiful, sheer poetry. And God bless your mum. But unfortunately, not many people put that out in the media.
Oh. And Danny Ellis says to George said that is, I truly believe Liverpool is the most charitable plane in the UK. Now, Daniela is Italian.
Yeah.
And she lives in Barcelona. She lives in Barca. And it's the only place in the UK where people are genuinely nice and generous and sincere. Isn't that beautiful?
That is beautiful. Could have come straight from Gerard Gardens there.
Yes. I could show you the other gardens. Anyway, Gary says, my sister worked in the Crown then. She works in the Globe. Go away.
Ah,
Go
Gary,
away.
I love the Globe. That's my favourite pub in the city. The Globe. I love it. I love it. I remember coming back from London with Drew years ago when we first acquainted, nearly 40 years ago, and ending up in there for the last pint of the night. You know, get off the train, you go one more pint, and then we'll go home. And we were in there for about an hour, and we were seriously had a lot all day, and we're in there just taking it easy. And this guy came up to Drew and he said, "All right, Skull," he said, "I've got a nice bit of carpet in the van there. Do you want some?" And our Drew, as you know, doesn't diminish him.
Oh, yeah.
No, thanks, mate. I'm all right. I'm just in company, you know, with family, and so I'm all right. Thank you. Do you want a beverage? And the guy said, no, I'm fine. And he goes, sits in the corner. Half an hour later, he comes over again and he says, "Hey, Drew, I've got a, it's cool. I've got a roll of lino there, which is just straight off the press. No, do you want any of that?" And Drew said, "No, I'm cool." Pacified the guy, went away. 5 minutes later, he comes across and he says, "Does your mate want a bit of lino?" No, we're all right. The Globe was chocker. I mean, it was like that chocker, but it didn't seem strange because we're in there. All of this Alan Bleasdale stuff was going on around. I'm just waiting for
It does. I went in there with Frank Maudsley. Remember Frank from Flock of Seagulls?
Yeah.
Anyway, we went there. It was an afternoon, and everyone was doing all this, you know, on the karaoke. So anyway, we're just standing there and having a drink, having a chat. And the next, Frank, he said, "I'm going to get up and give a song." I said, "Are you?" He said, "Yeah." So anyway, genuine this, he went up and he you know, the fellow, "Well, what do you want to sing?" They hadn't a clue who he was. And he said, "Yeah, I picked that one." So we picked a song, right? And anyway, he was called up later on. And I'm like, I'm wanting to get out. I'm wanting to, I have to go somewhere, you see. And he said to me, "Frank, come on, just come in for a beer or so." I said, "Okay." And anyway, he gets called up, and I went, "Thank God for that." And genuine this. He gets up and he sings. And he was good, you know. He was really good. And he's singing along. Stop singing. And as we're going out, this fella, this our fella went, "Well, you weren't as good as George, you know." George Harrison, he went, "No, George Jones or something." He said, "Why don't you hang on and listen to George when he comes on?" You know what I mean?
You couldn't put it in the script.
No, you can't.
That's fantastic.
That's a typical bleed, like what you said. And what I've just said is a typical Bleasdale script, isn't it?
Oh my God! Yeah, you couldn't. You. It's a pub which slopes like that. It goes right down from a height to floor. So you walk in and you kind of like that, and you say to the lady or whoever, 2 pints of whatever we were on, and then after you've had a few drinks, everything straightens up.
Yes.
Oh, everything's good.
Jason says, love that Anthony is hiding. I love that Anthony is hiding the Easter eggs in the background now.
Am I? That's Lenny then.
See,
If I
they've got
found
eyes, you know. They've got eyes everywhere. A lot, including our producer. And the Red says, don't forget to hit the like, good people. All in caps, the like. Thank you. Thank you, Redbird. I just want to go through these, Anthony. Then we can start on the history. Toscana says, there's not enough space on here to express the kindness the Scousers always show. My son, who got cerebral palsy, for the moment, the kindness helps me to put one side the negligence my son suffered. Fucking see. That's great, that. Thank you, Toscana. She's coming down to see me, actually, sometime, I don't know, next week, I think. I don't know when it is, or this week, is it? I don't know. She'll have to let me know what date. And lovely Karen. Good evening, boys, and all the listeners. Says Karen Kariaka. Should have heard me in Algiers, you know, when she first came, you know, commented on the show that we used to do together. And we were trying to pronounce a name. You know, Kariaka.
Yeah.
So funny. He has a great laugh. But she wouldn't say anything. She was just letting us carry on, you know, trying to. Anyway, Step and say, about time he's come on, I haven't seen him. All the lovely people, where do they all come from? All the lovely people, where do they all come from? And everyone here knows. Thank you for that. Good to see you, Stephen. And Toscana. Sorry if there's any Geordies on here, but Newcastle isn't a patch on Liverpool. I've spent time in both cities. And the lovely Karen says, some very complimentary comments this evening. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Karen. Yes. And Gary, I'm going to go right through them, Anthony, okay. And Gary says, Christine, you might know her. You've probably saved her but you've been probably, hang on. Christine, you might know, that's her sister's name. You've probably been saved by her if you go in there regularly. I wish I could. I can't get in it. I can't even go over to the bus stop.
We're going next week.
The bus stop. Or it's only over the road there. And Gary says, my other sister went out with go away in the early 80s when he had the hairdressers on the Whitechapel. I met him a few times, flock of seagulls. Used to go to in Reese's on Lord Street. Well, he hasn't got a hair on his head now.
No.
As Frank.
Still a very nice guy.
I used to say to him, why did you have your hair like that? You know, the lot of us. And he was, well, Mr. Stein, you know, you're at a show like the fans, you know. That it's, I said, you're not a mad head. He said, you're older than me. I said, no, piss off. Older. That's what they get you on, you know, aren't they? You're older than me. Most probably, Gary, you know, we have been in there and met your sister, obviously. And Steve says, the slope in the globe gets more steeper the more pints I drink. The worst place on earth.
The way round, I straighten up. The only problem is when you walk out into the main street and then you're all over the show.
The worst place, and I'm talking, you know, people say about the post, is it the post house? Not the post house, the post office.
Yeah, school lane.
Your Merseyside, people say about that. And fucking right. It's terrible in there. And I could walk all right because it's like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
The floor.
Yeah. Yeah. Not so bad when you're lying on it.
Karen said, have you had your hair cut, Frank? Very neat. Yeah, I've had it on
Yeah.
on Saturday.
Yeah.
The Globe was the first pub in Liverpool that got camera real ale pub of the. Oh, go away! Didn't know that. Did
Brilliant,
you know
Steve.
that?
I love it. My first experience on Aussie Whites was in the Globe when there's a lovely lady behind the bar, and I said, what's that? And they seemed to be older guys drinking it. And she said, yeah, you have a glass of that and half a beer. You know, I said, okay, I'll go for that.
Do you know, honestly,
That's why I became an artist, because I couldn't do nothing else after that.
it's. I always thought that it was the Mitre, the ship of Mitre, that got its the first camera award. I really did. I really did. But that's and Karen says, I miss you, Jared. I do myself. I do myself. And it's just one of those things, Karen. I haven't a fucking clue. So if you ever get invited by our Jared to have your Christmas dinner and you say yeah, and you can't make it for some reason, he'll never speak to you again. But that's it. Christopher says Globe used to do a brilliant pint of Canes, not in the not being in for a while. I think they do Black Sheep now. Gary says, I used to like going in the wine lodge for a laugh.
Yeah.
Do you know when I was younger? I've got to say this, haven't I? Got to say this. Was in Tarleton Street this day. You know, in the wine lodge, Tarleton Street, the wine lodge.
Yeah.
Now, I never see. I don't know what Aussie Whites. When I was young, when I was about 20, 21, whatever it was, you got it like that, and you drank it, and it was very thick, very, very sweet, and very sickly. That's the way it was then. And anyway, we were in one night. It was a Saturday night. Never forget it. And it was shocking, you know. And this couple came in, you know, middle-aged couple. And the lady had a fur coat on. And anyway, one of the lads who was getting the whites in, you know, he came over like that with the ball, you know, passed it over. And one of the lads, honestly, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? And he went, and it stuck there, and he just went all over the fur coat. And we all went, and I was, she never felt it. He just shocking.
Josie White's is one of them things that is beautiful to drink, but if you worry about your sanity, don't do more than 2 glasses.
No, I couldn't drink. I hardly drink, honestly. And Stephen says, Anthony, your portrait have such an aura, beats any photographs or modern AI render. You must have been touched by the gods. Thanks for keeping up World needs this kind of magic.
Ah,
You don't know what to say to that, do you?
that's wonderful. But the thing that touches me is the same thing now that did when I was a 6 or 7 year old. It's the things we see in life that light you up. You know, when I was
Yeah,
a kid, Buddy Holly and the Beatles. Now we get to know more about the world. It's not celebrity or money or wealth or palaces. It's just the people who made such a difference.
yeah.
So I lose myself in them, in their greatness. And thank you so much, Stefan. That's a wonderful thing to say. I'm I'm touched by your kindness.
It is though, isn't it? It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was you talking about the other day about an artist, and he was like the photographer at the time.
Hans Holben.
And he's just giving you that complimentary.
Oh, that's just
It's
we're both,
parallel to what we were talking about the other night
yeah,
about Albert.
yeah, yeah.
And Janet says, Frank, how are you? I'm okay. Janet, I was showing the lovely present you brought me down, Shakespeare. And I got a special thing. It's not a candle, but you press it and it lights up. And it's beautiful. And it's proudly on my mantelpiece, along with my other one that's very similar that I showed you. Yeah, Stefan said, Frank, I will call you soon about wine. Knew a guy who worked the motorways in Provence, found Roman, oh, go away, of wine and tried a mix of grapes, honey, and spices. Go away. Oh, I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah.
I'd really love to hear about that. Please, okay, Stefan, I'll look forward to that. What I'll do, I'll get Jason. I've got to sort out proper, uh, my proper Zoom. I've got to sort out that. So once I've sorted that out, I'll sort it this week. I promise you. I'll give you the bell on my Zoom. Send you the yeah. He'll sort it for me this week. I know he will. Thanks, Stephen. And what I want to do before we go for a quick break. Do you know what that is?
Very somber looking.
That is when the First World War broke out.
Oh,
And what it is with the First World War,
is that here?
I'm going to say this quickly, okay, then we'll go to a break.
Yeah.
In 1911, Churchill called us the most unpatriotic scum in the world, Liverpool, because we dare go on strike, a general strike. Think about that.
Oh,
And
I
when
do.
war broke out, look at these lads, 4 deep, that queue was 2 miles long. 2 miles long
To enlist.
to enlist. I'll just say these, then we'll go. I used to visit the dispensary and the Swan,
Yeah.
and the Munro. Monroe was named after President Monroe, by the way, Janet. And Archie says, looks like the FBI at a general meeting. It just doesn't it? Well, anyway, come back to us and we'll have a quick break.
Lime Street was known as Lambkin Lane because here where Lime Street station stands were lime kilns belonging to a certain Mr. Harvey. And it wasn't until the 1749 infirmary was built on the site of St. George's Hall. Now the doctors complained that the fumes from the kilns were bad for the patients in the infirmary. The kilns, unfortunately, were demolished around 1806. Therefore, with the demolition of the kilns and no kilns to be seen, they had to change its name from Lambkin Lane to Lime Street, which we fondly know today. By 1830, it was the great age of the railway. A mile or two up the road was Edgehill Station. However, the railway really needed to come into the heart of the city, and the chosen venue, Lime Street Station. Stations up and down the country were going to be transformed also, and Lime Street was going to be no exception, with Romanesque facades. Liverpool's first-class architect, John Foster Jr., was brought in to give the new station a Roman theme, Roman arches. And remember, until very recently, these arches were hidden away for many, many years by some hideous, hideous buildings. Look at them now. Just how John Foster Jr. envisioned in all the glory. And aren't they just beautiful? By 1836, and with the station in place, the infirmary had now become a lunatic asylum. The asylum had to go because it was only the rich people at the time that could afford to go on the trains, and they didn't want to see the lunatics walking about the grounds of the lunatic asylum. So the lunatic asylum was demolished in 1836, and by the following year a competition was held to build a grand building on the site. And this was the outcome: Harvey Lonsdale Elms's St. George's Hall. If you think this is impressive, wait till you come with me next door. How's this for a B&B? Because the rich people coming into Liverpool couldn't stay in lodging houses. So Sir Alfred's Waterhouse built this magnificent Western hotel. And at one time, it was huge for the amount of rooms it had, 300 in total. Prior to the First World War, Liverpool's red light district was down at the pier head. And for obvious reasons, the area became restricted at the outbreak of the 1914-18 conflict. So from the pier head, all the prostitutes had to ply their trade here at Lime Street Station. And who's the most famous of them all? Maggie May. So much so, they even named a song after Maggie herself. Here on the plateau stands a statue of Major General William Earl, a Liverpool lad who was actually born in 1833, Hope Street. William Hale joined the army in 1851 and rose through the ranks, achieving the rank of Major General in 1880, the same year that Liverpool received its city status. He sailed up the Nile and his commands were split into two. He went on to fight the enemy who was actually skirmishing with the British, and his other commands went on to Khartoum. Unfortunately, the following year in 1885, he was killed while storming the enemy. He was brought back to Liverpool to be buried at Allerton Cemetery. The statue was unveiled on December the 16th, 1887, and the sculptor was C.B. Birch. And here are our wonderful cenotaph, along with thousands of others. He's remembered every year.
What do you think of that?
Brilliant. Brilliant. Love it.
Just shows you, doesn't it? You know, the likes of these wonderful people, architects, sculptors, and excuse me, and sculptors that, you know, throughout the years, since this, you know, the castle, and how they built Liverpool up, how they built it up, it's just amazing. And when I've taken people around, like I know Karen Karayaku, you know, she's been around with me here, and her husband Steve. And Steve Mulholland's actually seen me, you know, going around. And people, when I've shown people certain things, they didn't even know that they were there. And they didn't know the story behind it. And that's the beauty of, you know, being right in the heart of talking about history to people and showing them certain things.
No, absolutely. Totally get it. Because you did the same to Laney and I, you know, because obviously we knew you as a historian. But it's one thing knowing that, and then another thing sitting in a building, a pub, or whatever it is, and then you unfolding the story behind it.
Yeah.
It is, wow, it's an education.
Oh, there's my old mate, David Wested. Very interesting, Frank, mate. Thank you, David. You know, David, his family are very good friends of mine, and his daughter, Sharon, was a former colleague of mine. You know, she was a teacher, and we worked at the same college together. Lovely, lovely people. Thanks, David. And Karen says, love the history, Frank. Makes me feel at peace. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Karen. Really, thank you. I really love it. Great hearing from David there, and well, everyone, to be honest. Now, look at that.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
Olympia twice nightly. The Olympia. Isn't that a fantastic building?
It is, and a little separate building on the end. It's
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Look how grand it is.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously, it's well gone now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
This is the way. This is, you know, we knocked down. I was trying to mention this last week.
You did, yeah.
And this is the most photographed, Anthony.
Absolutely. I've taken photographs myself like that in the late 90s and in the 2000s. You know, before we had a studio and stuff in Liverpool. But that is just wow.
Well, you see, when they build, and I was saying is at the time that they were building this, what's in front of them now, because that is completely, utterly, totally blocked. And it's those black granite buildings. And I was saying at the time, they are being built in the wrong place. Why the hell are they being built there? And this is one of the reasons why. I even mentioned that the most photographed thing in Liverpool is the arch overlooking the Liver, the Cunard, and the Port of Liverpool building.
Yeah.
It's just, and the fella who designed and built that arch was the same fella who designed and built the Albert Tuck, Jesse Hart.
Jesse Hartley.
Yeah,
Wow.
because all that, where you see it's French design, because just before there, right behind, be next to the fella or whoever's taking this photograph, is a policeman's hut, which is like a French turret. You've seen it loads of times. Yeah. And the wall as well that goes along, it's all French.
Yeah.
Because it's to coincide with what the French prisoners built, further away. When I've shown the French wall, it's by where the Everton Stadium is today.
Yeah, by the clock and the Iron Bridge, isn't it?
They wanted to knock that down,
Just stupidity, sheer stupid. That you look at that, and that is timeless. There's no cars, there's no anything there. Say 1964, 1984, 19 whatever. Yeah. That is just timeless. It's beautiful.
It is timeless, and it is beautiful. And the unfortunate thing is, the view has gone.
Blocked it, yeah.
This one.
Wow, Central Hall.
Wow. A fella by the name of Gas designed this. And two of them. And they wanted to build it, believe it or not, like a Barcelona building. It's the Barcelona bar. Yeah. And that's what it is. It's absolutely stunning. People don't even, they just walk past it, Central Hall. They just walk past it. And when they walk past it, they don't notice the beauty. They even walk in there.
No.
And they don't notice the beauty of it. They just haven't a clue.
They don't. And that's unfortunately a kind of trait of the modern generation, is that we're looking for Phones of You or Benter's the bookshop or whatever. We're looking low. We're not looking at the massive buildings, the beautiful buildings.
Yeah.
I love that building. And then years later, I think it was the early 90s, when I forget the chap's name, but the guy who housed the first Irish bar on Matthew Street, was kind of pushed out, maybe, and he built a bar on the ground floor of there, and I think it was called a Barcelona bar then. And he did. I thought he did a very respectful thing for the building. in that he didn't detract from the beauty of the building, and he built ornate gates and things on it, which added to it.
Yes. Yeah. And
You know,
when you think, go on.
I just thought that was a really clever and bright thing to do. You know,
Just imagine though, Anthony, the way that particular building was built, and you know,
yeah,
right behind it is Roscoe Gardens. Roscoe Gardens, and it's a shame that the likes of Roscoe Gardens is like, I'm not saying it's unkempt, but it could be a lot better.
yeah,
See what I mean?
yeah.
It could be a lot better.
Who owns it, Frank?
Which Roscoe Gardens?
Yeah,
Well, the city council should be maintaining it. Put it that
is
way.
it? Yeah,
And the likes of, that building, as I said about two fellas designing it, was Bradshaw and Gas. And they wanted it. Just look at it and look where it is, situated in Renshaw Street. And just up that street, not Renshaw Street as it is, but up that street to the left,
yeah,
there's a building there. And I love showing this particular building, but it's a house. It's a house. And when I showed them it, and then I showed them everything, all the detail, and I say to them, so what does that remind you of? If you've got it, if you have got it, and they said, oh, St. George's Hall. I said, precisely, because there's things on it that's on St. George's Hall, because who lived there and had it built so we could overlook the building of St. George's Hall was Harvey Lonsdale Elms, the architect of St. George's Hall.
Oh, I so remember you a couple of months ago. You showed us a picture of the house. And
Yes.
it was incredible.
Yes.
More
And
so,
it's still, go on, sorry.
no, more so incredible that it's still there.
Yeah. Yeah. It is incredible that it's still there, because you know what they're like. They don't give a toss, they'll pull it down. It's old now. And it's built with the same stone, believe it or not, as St. George's Hall. Built exactly with the same stone. And look at Stanley Park there.
Yeah,
And you're talking like of the 20 or the 10 of the century, the incredible. That's Avery in the middle there, by the way.
yeah.
A little Avery.
I used to be taken there as a little baby by me dad's mum and dad. Yeah, they lived just over the way, Everton way.
I think every parent have brought their kids there, because it's such a beautiful. It's got a boating lake. It's got everything.
Yeah,
It's got a wonderful the Islay thing, conservatory.
yeah,
The Islay Gladstone Conservatory is there,
yeah,
and it's beautiful,
yeah,
absolutely stunning. And two lads named Moncur designed it.
yeah.
They designed, two Scottish lads, but they also designed the farmhouse, which is in Sefton Park.
That's what I was going. That so reminds me, the two of them really.
Yeah.
I have we can't remember everything, but as a kid, I remember coming here and seeing what I thought was the Palm House. But I'm so glad you said that. Wow. And they are absolutely gems in the city of Liverpool. And they're only 15 minutes out, travelling wherever you are, to go and visit them.
And Karen says, what a photograph that is. Such a shame they call it. But this is a photograph before, with the Olympia,
Yeah,
with that other thing on the corner.
yeah,
You're right, Karen. It is a shame. And Stefan says, in the peak of the central hall, there are no trees growing through its stones. Is it fair to call such negligence criminal? Of course it is, because it, there are some buildings that you see. I don't know whether there's trees or what, but I know birds just drop seedlings, and then they take root then and grow. And that's a shame, because some buildings, the owners don't give a toss.
no.
They
That's
think, well, it's doing no harm to the, pedestrians or whatever. It's doing no harm for us. So they just leave it. It is negligence, and it is criminal, because everything that's growing out of buildings, especially deserted buildings, iconic buildings, and you
yeah,
see trees growing out of them, it's negligence in a
yeah,
big way, and it is criminal, to be honest,
yeah.
Stephen.
Wow,
The Empire Theatre.
beautiful. But that wasn't the original theatre, was it, Frank?
Oh, certainly. What can I show you the original theatre?
Please do.
But before I do, look, Jason, it's usually buddleia. They grow anywhere. The roots are really tough though, and damage the brickwork.
Yeah. We've got a building at the back of our garden which is full of it, and it's going to collapse. The building's going to fall, and the council don't give us tuppence halfpenny, and it's going to fall on our back, which is unfortunate because that's where I work.
Mm.
So if you read the Echo that one artist got mugged with 1,000 bricks who fell on his head, you know.
Stephen says, I know what, because Stephen lives in Barca.
I love Barcelona.
With his girlfriend, Daniela, who was on before, she commented before. And he says, I know all buildings in Barcelona. The student equals its masters. There are no such building and concert hall at the Central Hall in Liverpool here. And yet that's what Bradshaw and Gas wanted to build a Barcelona type building. That's why they called it the Barcelona Bar, for some reason.
Beautiful. I have never been in there, but there's been some seriously wonderful shows that have been put on there.
Did you know that it was a boys' club, and we used to go and we used to play snooker and billiards in there? Me and me little friends I grew up with.
Wow. And you further along towards Chinatown, there used to be a snooker room, a pool room. But no, I didn't know that was.
Yes, yeah, used to go there. Now look at the Kirkdale Industrial School.
It kind of looks like a Lowry painting, doesn't it? Very stern.
Yes. But isn't it beautiful?
Yeah,
It's an industrial school.
yeah.
Not like an Oxford or a Cambridge type school.
No.
It's an industrial school.
So that implies that you taught a trade.
Yeah. Yeah. But isn't it beautiful? Look at it. Now, if you just said, oh, that's in Cambridge, you would have said, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, yeah,
Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And that
yeah.
was in 1850.
Wow. And it looks like it's built on the seaside.
It is, because there's where you got the Mersey. And right over there is, I'd say, New Brighton now. Looking at New Brighton on the opposite side. Look at that. 1863. Liverpool from Tranmere, 1863 by William Collingwood.
Wow.
Liverpool from Tranmere.
That's where we are, you know. So up the road a little bit to get a height.
But look
Wow.
at them making hay. Look. You
Yeah.
see how the farmers, you know, lots of farmland. And you know, Everton and Boundary Street,
Yeah,
that was all arable land. That was all farmland. Every inch of it. Everton was such an iconic place.
yeah.
Let me show Everton. Can I show you it? I'll take this off. Put the map on. Put the map on. Now, Everton. I'm going to show you it now. I'm going to show you it now. Now, there's Everton here. There's Everton. Goes right along here. That's Everton.
Yeah.
Right along. And what you've got in Everton, you've got, can I zoom in? I'll zoom in because this is where, you know, in history during the Civil War. Let me go. I'm just looking for something, and it's not bloody here. It's not bloody here, unfortunately. I just wanted to show something. Good God. Anyway, all this Everton around here, from there to there to here, not there, but here.
Yeah.
That was what you call a resort. Everton was a resort. But unfortunately, they started to build up, like what you see on there. They started to build up. Remember Rupert's Castle?
Yeah.
You know, it was the lock-up to be on. That's what I was looking for, the lock-up. I can't even find it, unfortunately. And it's around here somewhere. It could be there somewhere. But Rupert's Castle, it wasn't built by Rupert. to be honest, because Rupert was here in 1644, between May and June 1644. And they left then, they were only here 18 days. And they're saying that that was Rupert's castle, but that wasn't, because that castle, the lockup, was built in 1787. As I said, Rupert was here in 1644. So there's like myths surrounding it.
Yeah.
The castle. Now, the likes of, I know it's not showing it there now, but the likes of William Wordsworth and Dorothea Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge used to come from Grasmere down to see that Quincy fella.
Yeah.
You know, the Thomas de Quincey, who wrote the Confessions of an English Opium Eater. Because it was full of opium then, you know, there was little places where you can go, which was legal to have your opium.
Yeah.
And they used to go down because that's where he lived. He lived in the village of Everton. He lived in the village of Everton. I wonder if Jason's got one. Look at this. Hang on, got to take this off a minute to put this bloody thing up. Case Jason in it. Watch. There it is. There's Everton.
Wow.
And that's where, as I said, about Samuel Taylor Coleridge, Wordsworth, and his sister Dorothea used to go down and visit Thomas de Quincey there, because it was a resort. There was villas, there was townhouses, beautiful countryside. And where these cows are, there's St. George's Church there. You can see it in the background. And in the foreground where you see these cows, Anthony, was where your mum used to walk you down. She must have done down Boundary Street.
Wow.
Do you ever remember the name Mile End on Scotland Road? Mile End. It was on Scotland Road.
Yeah.
Nevertheless. And why it was called Mile End, someone asked me once. He said, "Hey Frank, why was he said, "It's gone now, Mile End." I said, "I know, yeah." He said, "Why was it called Mile End?" I said, "Because it was precisely 1 mile from the town hall." And he said, "For years I've been trying to find out why it was called that." He said, I said, "That's why it was called Mile End. It was a mile from the town hall." And a bit further up, they had Boundary Street, which was like the boundary of like Liverpool at a very early date, Boundary Street. And that was Boundary Street. Then you went into Walton. You see?
Yeah. Everything's
But what do you think of that?
That's just astonishing. I know we've talked about it in the past, and you have with us, me and chat, but it's when you see pictures like that that it kind of makes sense. The idea that Everton at the time was a resort which was not industrialized. It wasn't heavily built upon.
No, it wasn't built upon. And then all of a sudden, I'll go back to the map. So you look at that, you look at the beautiful buildings, the villa and the church. Now, where the church is, that's still standing, as you know, St. George's Church. Our
Yeah.
Jared just lives right facing it. Our kid lives right facing that church. He said it's a bloody nuisance when the bells ring.
Oh,
Now stop moaning. But when we go back to the map, now you've just seen it, haven't you?
yeah.
And you've just seen the way it is there and all the built up here, the build up. See? Do you know where this is? This beautiful building here.
Right. Okay. That, um,
That building's still there as well. This one, let me see this one here. What am
yeah.
I? That's still there. And this building is still there. And this building is still there. Right, so I'll give you this first. And I'm so happy to say that I was one of the people who saved this building. And it's the Collegiate in Shore Street.
Wow.
It's the Collegiate in Shore Street.
Wow. Such a scale on the landscape, isn't it?
Yes,
Going by this map. Yeah.
yes,
Wow.
yes.
Beautiful.
So you've got that. This one here, Anthony, this church, which is still there, is the Methodist Church.
Oh,
And the Methodist Church is now flats.
Wow.
They were saved and now they're flats, which is great, you know, because the building is still there.
yeah.
These are all flats now. You know, the Collegiate.
Yeah.
This particular building here, you can just about see it.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can go in further. Oh, yeah. Go in further. Right. So
Gee.
here, this building here, this one,
Yeah.
a fellow by the name of J.J. Scholes, he was drinking in the Rose, you know, the Rose and Crowns on Dale Street.
Yeah. By the Bridewell, the original kind of.
There you go. Yeah, and he was drinking in there, and there was these Irishmen, and he said, "I believe you're a architect," and he said, "Yep." And he said, "Would you like to build a church for us?" And he thought, "These are kidding me, you know, a couple of Irish fellas." About 4 of them they were. So they got this tablecloth, rather, and they had a pen or whatever it was, and they drew a church. And they said, "We'd like you to build that, you know, to look at it and build it." And he said, "We want something that belongs to the Notre Dame in Paris." So he went, "Yeah, okay," but he wants a proof that they were all right. So they put up money first. He drew this, you know, he drew what he wanted to draw. And then they looked at it and said, "Yeah." He said, "But where's the piece of Notre Dame?" So he showed them it. But I can't show you. I can't show you, but I can't show you. But anyway, I know that sounds daft, but it's here. It's here, right there, and it's at the end. There's where you go in. Obviously, there's the tower.
Yeah.
There, that's where you go in. But here is the little piece of Notre Dame, and I've shown people, even when I've been up to a service, for a funeral. A good
Yeah.
friend of mine's mum died, and I went up to St. Francis, and I was telling people, they were saying, "Hey Frank, why is that so different?" And I explained to them, we're all at a service, come out after the service. They said, why is that different? So I told them.
So did that then lead to the Notre Dame School, which is ultimately further on down the road a bit?
Yes, very good shout. I was forgot about that. My daughter Francine went there, Notre Dame.
My
Now
mum went.
this church here, I'm going to tell you about this church here. It's
Wow.
gone now. Beautiful, isn't it? Big.
Yes.
And that's St. Augustine's. It's well gone now. It's well and truly gone now. But have you ever heard of a lady called Jessie Crosby?
Maybe. I remember you talking about St. Augustine's previous
Yeah.
on another show, but
Well, the school was right there. And she was the headmistress of the school. Now, as you know, this is all Everton. All around here, all Everton. Look, all Everton. Everywhere.
which
And
I
St.
suppose,
Augustine, go on.
I was going to say, I suppose we should mention that in the main, Everton was Church of England, other than that church you just described.
Yeah, it was. It was until the Irish fellas had it built there because they were saying about the Irish people who started to go and live around here in Everton, and the only church that they could go to, which they went to, was St. Anthony's on Scotland Road.
Yeah.
That was the only church they could go to, and it was like they said, they're walking very far, even in bad weather, to go to their mass. So anyway, they said, okay, JGA went out, okay, and he built that for them. But no one mentions about the four Irishmen who put up everything to build a church for parishioners so that they could just walk to the church over the road. You see, we were talking about philanthropy before.
Yes.
But this lady, St. Augustine's and the school was incredible because she used to look at kids in the Everton area and they were filthy. They were in rags. And what Jessie Crosby did, she went out into the leafy suburbs, Anthony.
Yeah.
And she was asking for old clothes they didn't want, children's clothes they didn't want. And she used to bring them down to the school and hand them out. And then she got to the corporation then, as it was known, and she said, I need baths in the school. I need bats. They said, what for? She said, to bathe children. They're filthy. They've hardly got any water where they live. They're never getting washed. Anyway, she got it in. She even got hot water. And she used to bathe, or get the staff, to bathe kids.
Yeah.
And there was a little lad named Billy. And he was playing out. He was always filthy, going, well, like all the kids were going filthy. And what had happened was she bathed them. And she dressed him in clothes that she got, from the leafy suburbs.
Yeah.
And when he went home, he was sparkling. Know what I mean? His hair was washed, his face was washed, everything was washed. And she said, now go straight home. And he was dressed in clothes, not rags, that he was used to and playing in.
Yeah.
And when he went home, he just walked in. And his mother just seen a figure, looked at it. She said, Billy's playing out. She thought it was a mate of it. She didn't recognise her own son because he was washed, groomed, and had decent clothing on. It's mad, isn't it?
It is mad. Only because we can't go there because we never experienced it. But yeah, what a wonderful lady she was.
She was Jessie Crosby. And the Heights in Great Ormond Street, there was Crosby Heights, named after her. People used to think it was named after Crosby. It wasn't. It was named after that lovely lady.
Wow.
Named after that lovely lady.
What a beautiful tribute. Oh my word.
That's Charlotte Street. And what's that building on the right there? Any idea? You do know it.
Looks like Blackless, that was.
Hang on. Blackless.
Wow. That was such
Because
a
it was from, that's when Lewis's was hit. Lewis's was hit badly. But then he built it. So when we're doing it next week, for 10 or 15 minutes about for the philanthropist, we'll do the fella who built, don't shout his name out, who built Lewis's.
Yeah.
We'll also speak about a lad who looked at prisoners and said, this is wrong. They're being treated like animals. There's no dignity whatsoever to give these prisoners. So he had something built.
Brilliant.
So we talk about the likes of those two and another lad. He was one of the greatest of all Liverpudlians. And he's still referred to today as the greatest Liverpudlian.
Yeah.
And we'll speak about him as well. But what he did was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he doesn't get the credit. Only he gets the credit in Liverpool, nowhere else. And we'll talk about him.
Are we allowed to mention his name tonight?
No,
we
won't mention him. Okay. Yeah, we leave him till next week. And Karen says, I wish I could zoom in on the map because my eyes are pants. And Jason said, Karen, try
brilliant. Jason's put up the map.
And Karen says, "Thank you, Frank. Ain't getting old." Here's your mate, Karen.
We're not getting old. We'll get older, but we're not going to get old.
Getting older.
That's brilliant, Frank. That's fantastic.
Isn't that brilliant?
Yeah. No, I love to stop off in Everton as well, you know. Wow.
And that's what was wrong with it. You know, it was it. But they repaired it in no time. They repaired it in no time. The overhead. And remember when after the war they needed new plates. They needed new plates. And it would have cost 2 million. And no one had paid for it. The part of Liverpool building, because it was theirs really, they said, no, we're not paying, you know, we haven't got the money. The governments wouldn't give any funding. But they said, if there's, and this is the irony of it, they said, any public building or any public structure that can't be repaired, if you take it down, we'll compensate. And it could be repaired, as you know. Go on.
What a load of tosh.
Yeah.
Don't need compensation. Just loan us or give us the money to repair it.
Yeah. And it's the way I look at it, you see, is that it's sheer, unadulterated corruption.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
I was looking at something today. I'm not going to go into it. What's it about Liverpool? And this former ambassador, top diplomat, he said, what you see today, everything is based on greed. And you know, it doesn't just go back to today. It goes back years. It goes back centuries. And that proved it because there was a few councillors who owned demolition businesses. And what they seen, they went, yeah, let's pull it down. So they get compensation, not only compensation, but their family business would move in to remove it. And one of them went under. It just went under. They couldn't do it. And that's how strong the overhead was. It was phenomenal. It was a phenomenal piece of engineering.
Yeah.
And in its 60-year lifespan, 73 million people used it, which is phenomenal.
Wow.
73 million. So they decided to pull it down. This city of ours.
Someone would make a tenner.
Now there's a before and after. It's the most disgusting thing ever. Because the one on the left, it's the cotton exchange actually.
Yeah.
So the one on the left, they knocked all those two towers down, all those columns from top to bottom, to put that facade in on the right side. Think about that.
Yeah.
Again, someone said to me, was it bombed? I said, no, wasn't bombed. Wasn't bombed. I said, the unfortunate thing was, this is progress, so we've got to look at, there's no comparison, is there?
No. Glass houses.
No comparison whatsoever. To the left, to the right of the cotton exchange. How would that have looked?
Oh, Frank. The building just exudes status. It's just
It
just
does
beautiful.
exist, yeah. And that in Old Street
Yeah.
is it's criminal. It's absolutely criminal. And can you see the building to the right of it? It's a red building. You can just about get a glimpse of it.
I see
That's
the two.
Albany House. That's
Wow.
Albany House.
And that too is a beautiful building.
Oh yeah, it's still there today.
Yeah.
Still there
Apartment.
today. Yeah. And what used to be there? A fella used to be there. It was family business before World War One. Excuse me. Anyway, when he was there, his family were in the cotton business. And when World War One broke out, he joined the army. And by the time the war was over and he came back, his business had gone. His family business, the family business had gone. Because the Americans cornered the market, the cotton market. So everything was theirs today, if you know what I mean. Everything. So they went out of business. And that same fella, his name was George Gabriel Curie. And he won a Victoria Cross. And he ended up working in a chip shop. A chippy. And Karen says, thanks, Jason, for the map. Thanks for the map. And also says, the cotton exchange, dear me, Frank, I was there the other day. I can see the wording CE on the building. What a shame. It looks nothing like it should. There you go. There you go, Karen. Now, that must have been just before they started to take away. I'll tell you for why. To take away the frontage, that frontage. Because what was in between some of the columns were statues.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the bottom columns was a big statue. Forget what it was, but it's a big fat thing, big fat statue. And that was there. So that must have been just prior, because they had to take everything away, obviously. Isn't it sad?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And Old Hall Street was so ornate with buildings. wasn't it, at a time? I remember in our time around Old Hall Street, opposite that majestic building, was what turned out to be a beautiful Italian restaurant in the um, 2000s when the heads opened up at the Echo building, and it was glorious inside the whole thing. And
Do you know? I said I was going to do something, but we was going to do something tonight, which was Jack the Ripper. Was it Jack the Ripper I was supposed to do?
you did mention Jack, but you know what?
No,
I'm not.
no. I'm going to say. You know, what did you think about tonight?
I loved it.
Okay.
I loved it.
Well,
I think from the philanthropists back to town, I'm once again, I am a very, very proud Scouse.
Scouse. Like Paul McCartney,
Yeah,
Macca McCartney.
yeah.
Because tomorrow night, have a guess what I'm going to do? What we never done tonight.
Jack.
Yeah. If
And
you're
not,
able.
not Spring Heel Jack.
No, not him. So I'll do Jack for tomorrow because we missed out tonight. And, you know, just get us out the way because it's a promise. And people might have come on for it, you know. So we'll do Jack the Ripper tomorrow night.
Have I got
And,
to work on a deer stalker?
You could do. Or, you know, one of those top hats, a black cloak, and one of those faces.
I'd scare the crap out of myself. I'll come in the room, look in a mirror, and then up.
So we'll do that tomorrow night, eh?
Brilliant. Yeah.
Jack the Ripper. And on Wednesday, the history of literature.
Literature. There's an interesting story which maybe should wait till Wednesday, but it involves history as well, and it's the burial site of Mary Shelley, which I tried to do some research on. So her mum and her dad, God love them, were buried in Highgate Cemetery in London, and apparently Mary Shelley used to learn to read by sitting on her mum's grave. She would learn to read, which makes sense to me.
As a little girl.
As a little girl.
Because she didn't know her mother died 3 days after she gave birth.
So that sounds so harrowing, but also, you know, poignant.
Very poignant, yeah.
Yeah. And then when Shelley died, Shelley was supposedly cremated, but his heart wasn't cremated. And for every evening, Mary Shelley slept with the heart in tissue under her pillow. So whether that's true or not, I haven't dug that out yet. But the one that broke my heart was that her son, at a point married a girl from Bournemouth and had Mary Shelley and to intense his grandparents dug up and moved and entombed in Bournemouth. And the only kind of historical thing is like a bleeding pub called the Mary Shelley. And I just thought, I hope that's wrong. I've got to do some research into that, because that just feels morally totally wrong. That's a son.
But what you've got to take into consideration as well, Anthony, that a wife going back then had to do what the husband told them to do. If he came from Bournemouth and she was always wanting to go and visit the grave, which she must have done. So I think research, that would be great if you did that.
Yeah. I'll do that for Wednesday.
Okay. And Karen said, Frank, I'm broken-hearted. Such a bloody shame. Why, oh why do they think knocking our beautiful buildings down or improving them is a positive? We can't bring them back. Precisely.
Yeah.
100%.
Not fashionable.
Not fashionable at all.
Glass houses.
Not fashionable at all. And that's the sad indictment about city planners.
Yes.
Well, city planners have been going on for centuries. When they knocked, the castle down, what's behind me, in 1724, to make way for a bloody church.
Yeah.
Then they knocked the church down to make way for
a statue.
A statue.
Do you know, it was Orwellian then. The idea of battery life.
This is the biggest. Show you. Where am I?
Just amazing.
I've got it up, haven't I?
You do know, though, don't you, that it would take me 6 months up in that balloon to do even half of this stuff.
God knows how long it would take me. I don't know where I am. Hang on a minute. I just want to see where I am. Yes, know where I am.
Yeah.
You know where I'm showing you, don't you?
Yeah.
Do you see the likes of that, Anthony? Hang on.
Yeah.
Let me go in. Show you. These are all Venetian bridges,
Oh,
see that?
wow.
That's a Venetian bridge. And we had loads of them in Liverpool.
And that to me is the meaning of Liverpool. That's the logo of Liverpool, is the shipping, the ports, the life around them.
Yes. Sorry about it. And there it is. There it is, what I was looking for.
Yeah.
And it's this building and that building. This is the custom house.
Yeah.
It's like knocking the castle down.
Yeah.
It's like knocking the castle down at the time. And they knocked it bloody down. And then this, which was the sailors' home. This was knocked down in 1948, and that was knocked down in 1974. And until Liverpool 1 came along, once that one went, the whole was still there. They done nothing about it. They done absolutely zilch about it. When they knocked it down, it was just left.
What carnage.
And that's the crying shame. Imagine that there today. Because as you know, all this now is Chavash Park,
Yeah.
the Albert Dock.
I can
Just
still
imagine those two.
Yeah.
Go on.
I can still
Just imagine
imagine it amongst the new development.
Oh, imagine them there today. But it's just still there, though. This one here. That's still there. That's still there. And you know what this was here, don't you? That was his house. That was his house.
When it was on site?
He was on, yeah, because he was the harbour master. It was Jesse Hartley.
Oh, wow.
Still there today. At least he never knocked that bloody well down. Well, they were going to, weren't they? Only for Michael Heseltine. Got rid of the lot. What'll be there today? It'll just be the Mersey.
Would be a car, wouldn't it? Be a car park that no one would want to park in because there's nothing to see.
No. But anyway, thank you, mate, for tonight. And
thank you, Frank, and thank you, everyone. Wow. Been on a bit of a journey.
Yes. Thanks, Frank and Andy, for another great show. Says the Ambidextrous.
Oh. Ambidextrous, thank you. Is that your flu arm giving you jip?
Yeah, it's getting better with me. You know, the pain's subsided, but I'm getting the pain in the elbow, which is excruciating, unfortunately. No need for Jack the Ripper. You are ripping our hearts out, reminding us how Liverpool was and could still be one of the greatest architectural duo of the world. Isn't that lovely?
That is lovely, and I totally agree.
I wonder what he thinks of that, Stephen. Look at that, Stephen. Look at that. And we knocked the left side down to put in the frontage of the right hand side. You can't make these things up. I wonder what the architects later would have said. I wonder what he would have said, seeing that being knocked down. Ah, it sickens me. Really sickens me, Anthony. So anyway, I'll see you tomorrow night.
7 o'clock. I'll have my cape and everything.
And your walking stick and your Gladstone bag. Don't forget your Gladstone bag. Black. With all your instruments in.
Oh no.
And your jars. terrible, isn't it?
I won't have no tea tomorrow night. You know. Might well chuck it up.
Yes. Yeah, look, Stephen says, I'm very upset when I see this photo, and I'm a foreigner. And he's a foreigner.
Yeah.
Shows it, doesn't it? But I know Stephen loves architecture like us. Thank you both. Wishing you well, beautiful people. Oh, lovely.
Thank you, Steph.
Lovely.
Wonderful.
And Toscana. Grazie, Franco, Anthony and Chatters. Another educational evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Toscana.
And your son, don't forget, we think about your son as well, to be honest. Don't we, Anthony?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we do. We love.
So, if you want to join me tomorrow night, and Anthony with his cape on, and it's not a Batman cape, either.
Yeah.
It's not a Batman cape. It's not a Superman cape. It's a Ripper cape. For a ripping yarn tomorrow night. Thank you so much. So I've got to thank these wonderful people.
Yeah.
At Painting Services for sponsoring every Frank Carlyle pod. He asked me about, he messaged me last night,
Andy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Frank, it's Andy here. And he says he went into a building. He said they must be doing it out because he's commercial as well. He's commercial as well. And he said he explained about the building and the marble and the tiles. And he said, where could it be? And I said, I told him what the building would be and what kind of a street it was, what it was back then. And he went, I had an idea it'll be them, like banks and things.
Yeah.
And this particular building he must have gone into, I named it. I said, was it? Yes. And that's where all the marble and everything is. Well, he's talking about the interior, but the exterior is absolutely fantastic. I said, and when you look at it, have a look at the name. I said, because it's greatly influenced by the Americans who own the building.
Wow.
And he went, wow. So that was lovely. And that's the Painting Services. Jason, he's a bloody nuisance and still getting over the flu or whatever he's got, because he did sound rough. But when I was speaking to him last night, he sounded more or less the same Jason as we knew him before this, what he got, what he calls. So he's getting better.
Good.
So he has to thank.
Yeah.
So who is the most important? Who we have to thank?
Our beautiful chat family. Oh.
Who's been missing tonight? Have you noticed?
Yeah, I've noticed a couple. I mean, Scottish Bear is forever.
Yeah.
The brain in the heart.
So who do you think was missing tonight?
Johan.
Yes. And it's just to say he was missing the other day as well, Friday. We just hope that he's okay.
He's come down with this leggy that
Maybe.
sadly our Jason come down with, and I am hoping that I don't. Not to be, I'm not no one special, but the stuff I want to do over the next few weeks, as you know, and I ain't going to do any of that if we come down with that.
No, I don't want to come. It's horrible. And Jason, cheers, gents. I'll be tip top soon enough. And that's
Good
from
cheer.
Jason himself. And night all, thank you. He says to all our wonderful chatters who are the most important people. Because
Yeah.
without them, Anthony, what will we have? No what?
We'll have no show.
Exactly.
We'll have no show, and we'll have a park bench with you, me, and Jason on, and a bottle of
So,
milk, and a packet of cheese and onion crisps, and that's it.
talking between ourselves, like the old conscious. All right, then. So I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, boss.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks for keeping Anthony and myself company tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. And tomorrow night will be rather heavy, unfortunately, with the tale of Jack the Ripper. Good night, all. And as our Italian friends would say, ci vediamo. A domani. Ciao. Mezzo 7 ora domani.